So here is VERU. This finishes at $10.01 today. That is down 18.49%.
And it's gone.
Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarty Gambling Show. So here is ATER Aterian. This finishes at $5 today. That is up 23.76%. So we talked about the stock on Friday. So apparently this is the #1 short squeeze candidate right now, according to social media. A lot of apes think that this is the next squeeze. I'm not saying it is, but that's what the apes are telling me. So the stock did run to the upside today, but really during the last half hour, it really exploded. Looks like a lot of covering was done right before market close. And even in the aftermarket here, this is still running to the upside. So it looks like there is some truth in what the apes are saying about this being a short squeeze candidate. But yeah, really no news to justify this price action today. It just seems like this is really social media driven. Apes really like the stock and trying to squeeze it. So this has come up quite a bit from the low of 210, over a 100% upside already, and still going. So let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this looks like a cup and handle in the making, bottom of the cup being the low of 210, and there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 565, 680, 865, 1045, 1190, 1420, 1705, or even 1905, although I do think the most realistic top would be 565, but those are all bullish indicators. That is telling us that the stock should come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. We do have this gap down at 855, so that is a bullish indicator. That is telling us that the stock should eventually come back up to 855 to fill this gap. May take a while, but eventually it should. And in the aftermarket here, this is running up to 520, so that is a bullish indicator for tomorrow. That is suggesting that tomorrow the stock will run to the upside as well. And we do have this gap up at 389, so that is a bearish indicator. That is telling us that the stock should eventually come back down to 389 to fill this gap. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 510 and 460. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 510, 565, 610, 640, 680, 745, $8, 865, 910, 955, 995, and then 1045. There is resistance above 1045, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 460, 410, 355, 305, 255, 210, and then 140. So right now at this current price, $5, the channels to the upside and the downside are pretty decently sized. So expect a regular amount of price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks 680 to the upside, the channels start to open up and get wider. So expect a significant increase in price action if/when this breaks 680. RSI is currently at 70, so that is in overbought and overvalued territory, so be careful guys. And this did 46 million in volume today, very significant volume, way above the average of 7 million. So this still appears to be short squeezing, although it appears like the momentum is cooling off. Volume is pulling back for the past couple of days. The squeeze looks like it's winding down. Okay guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So long term, this does look like a good stock to buy and hold. Got some strong bullish indicators in the cup and handle and gap down. In the short term, this still appears to have upside potential. Like I said, still looks like it's short squeezing, but looks like momentum is cooling off. So eventually that will have to come to an end. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice. Personally, I would not do that. I think it's a bit too late. This already went up almost 150% from the low of 210. And while there is still more upside potential, it really shouldn't run too much higher to the upside. We are getting some bearish indicators here in the short term, in the high RSI, high volume, and gap up. So I really don't think it's going to go too much higher than 565. Maybe it'll go to 865 at the most, I think. But I would say going long here would be a medium risk, medium reward play. There's still a decent amount of upside to go, but also a decent amount of downside. So like I said, I think it's a bit too late to go long here, so I wouldn't do it. But if you do want to go long, then please do that at your own risk. And I would say hit the sell button eventually, because I do think this is due for a pullback. So personally, I would look to sell around 565, because I think that's where the top of the cup is. And if you're in this for the long term, and you want to hold in diamond hands this, then I think you should just hold off right now, and wait for this to pull back down to 390 where the gap is. And I think that'd be a really good entry. Should eventually come back down there. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, seems like a pretty decent play. Like I said, there still appears to be more upside potential, and I do think this will pull back down to 390 to fill the gap. So that's over a 20% downside from the current price of $5. So there's pretty decent money to be made here on the downside, but still upside risk. So I would also say going short here would be a medium risk, medium reward play. I wouldn't go for it. I think there are better short plays out there in the market with more downside potential and less risk. But as long as you're able to withstand some upside pressure here, this should pull back to 390 eventually, and you should be able to make over 20%. So if you want to go short, I can't support it. Just please do that at your own risk. And I would say cover at 390 where the gap is for over a 20% gain. So pretty straightforward here, guys. So long term looks like a good stock to buy and hold. This is a very hot retail stock right now. Apes have been squeezing it. Still appears like it's in the middle of a squeeze, but momentum is cooling off, so I think the squeeze is coming to an end. Still appears to be more upside potential, but I don't think it's going to go that much higher to the upside. And eventually, I do think this will have to pull back. So if you want to go along for a quick scalp, pretty decent play, but please do that at your own risk and hit the sell button eventually. If you're in it for the long term, I would say hold off to 390 to where the gap is, and that should be a pretty good entry. And if you want to go short, seems like a pretty decent play. Not the greatest play, but you should be able to make over 20% to the downside as long as you're able to withstand some upside pressure here. And I would say cover around 390 where the gap is. So congratulations to everyone who made money in the stock today, and good luck to all the apes, and to everyone who's looking to take a position. This is ATER Aterian. So here is VERU. This finishes at $10.01 today. That is down 18.49%.
And it's gone.
So we talked about the stock yesterday. Was definitely short squeezing. I did predict that it may have a little bit more upside to go, but eventually this would have to come crashing down, as with every short squeeze. A lot of apes did not like that, but hey, here we are. Major pullback today. So this was still trending on StockTwits. I believe it was number 2 after SPY had over 7,000 mentions. So once again, we're going to analyze it. So we did have some upgrades today. Let's check that out first. So Oppenheimer upgrades to $36 and H.C. Wainwright upgrades to $24. So that's bullish news. Got 2 hedge funds upgrading their price targets here. Although I will say, I am very familiar with Oppenheimer and H.C. Wainwright. They are known to be some pretty shady hedge funds. They are known to manipulate stocks a lot, especially these biotech stocks. They love these biotech stocks. So I would take those upgrades with a grain of salt. Okay, let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this looks like a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being 434, the yearly low. And there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 1455, which it hit yesterday. And if the top is 1455, that would be a bearish indicator, because that is telling us that the stock already topped out and should pull back to form the handle. But it can also be above 1455, and if it is above 1455, that would be a bullish indicator. It can also be 1710, 2160, or even the high of 2455. So the cup and handle can be bullish or bearish depending on where the top is, but it appears like in the short term, it's a bearish indicator, and longer term, it looks like a bullish indicator. In the aftermarket here, this is running up to 1050, so that is a bullish indicator for tomorrow. That is suggesting that tomorrow, the stock will run to the upside. And then we do have this gap up at 455, which was created yesterday. So that is a bearish indicator. That is suggesting that the stock will come back down to 455 to fill that gap. And that may take a while, but eventually it should. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now, this is sitting on the support of 995, which it finished around today. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 1045, 1130, 1230, 1325, 1410, 1455, and then 1575. There is resistance above 1575, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 970, 945, 920, $9, 885, 870, 845, 825, 810, 795, 775, 760, 735, 710, 690, 670, 640, 625, $6, 580, 565, 550, 530, 510, 495, 475, 450, and then the low of 435. So right now at this current price, $10, the channels to the upside are very wide. So if this stock continues to run to the upside, expect a significant increase in price action. However, to the downside, the channels are pretty decently sized. So if the stock continues to run to the downside, expect a normal amount of price action. RSI is currently at 69. Nice. So no longer in overbought and overvalued territory, but it's still pretty high up there. Pretty much still is overbought and overvalued. So be careful, guys. And this did 90 million in volume today. Second biggest volume day of the year after yesterday, where it did over 350 million. So this sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. Although it does appear like the short squeeze is over and it's due for a massive pullback from here, as with all short squeezes. Volume coming down and momentum is quickly cooling off. Okay guys, so just my opinion, not financial advice, and this is more or less the same from yesterday. So longer term, it does look like a good stock to buy and hold. Got a strong bullish indicator in the cup and handle, and we got those 2 upgrades from the hedge funds today. But in the short term, this definitely did short squeeze. It looks like it's over, and it's due for a major pullback, because that's how short squeezes go, and that's how biotech goes. It's all pumping up and pumping up and pumping up. So major pullback today, and I do believe it still has a lot more downside to go. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. This appears to be a falling knife right now, and if you were to buy in here, you're probably going to get burned. This is still at a relative high at $10. I still think there's a lot of downside to go. Going long here would be a high risk, low reward play, in my opinion. So I don't like the entry of $10. If you want to go long, I would hold off until $4.55, where the gap is. It should eventually come back down there. So I think it's a little too late to go long. You missed your chance, and just be a little patient, and you should be able to get a much better entry. I would set your buy orders to $4.55. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice. Yesterday, I said that $12.30 was already a really good entry going short, and we get a major pullback today. And even at $10, this is still a really good entry. So again, looks pretty bearish in the short term. Got bearish indicators in the gap up, high RSI, and high volume. So again, I do think this will pull back down to $4.55 to fill the gap. And from this current price of $10, that is over a 50% downside. So it's still a lot of downside potential, still a lot of money to be made on the downside here. So I would support going short at $10 and higher. And that would cover once this comes back down to $4.55, where the gap is. And that should be a relatively easy 50%. So yeah, pretty straightforward, guys. Longer term, it looks like a good stock. This will have its day again, eventually at some point. But this is definitely short squeezed. Short squeeze looks like it's over. Volume coming down, momentum cooling off. And it still looks like there's a lot of downside to go before this runs to the upside again. So if you want to go long, I don't think entering at $10 is a great idea. I would hold off to $4.55 where the gap is. And if you want to go short, looks like a really good entry to me. A lot of downside to go, a lot of money to be made here on the downside. And again, I would cover at $4.55 where the gap is. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today. And good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is VERU, VERU. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please, like the video. Please subscribe and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. You apes already know, diamond hands to the moon. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.